Okay, today is June the 9th, and this is what's been about a month or so since our last video.
Yes.
Okay. We have Mizona, which has really grown up and is actually bolting a little bit. Right here, we planted this back in April the 5th, and it's going to seed, but still we can get some of the foliage off of it for salads. It's very, has a little bit of a bite to it, a little bit tough and chewy. We got several kinds of lettuce. We have back here on the far end, we've got romaine lettuce that was planted back in May the 12th. And then we have red lettuce here. I have a date of March 26th. We planted that. The spinach, I'm not sure. We're getting some of this is bolting already. It didn't get very big. My guess is we just probably planted it too late. It's not been that hot, but usually it's the warm weather that makes this stuff bolt. And so we'll get a little spinach out of it, but probably not much. The carrots are doing great. We planted these carrots. You might want to get closer to these. These have grown a lot in the last couple of weeks. These were planted way back in April 29th. And it took about 3 weeks before we got any germination, but boy, they're coming in strong now. It's taken a while. Let's see, we got onions here, planted at different times. This here was planted in March the 26th. These were planted in April the 5th. And I think I planted some more here later, but they haven't come up yet. This here is our broccoli. And this was planted March the 29th, these two plants here. And the two on the ends we planted on May the 3rd. The peas are doing great. They were planted March 29th. And we're getting lots of blossoms. And we'll have some peas to eat before long. These are beginning to fill up a little bit. And when they get just a little bit bigger, they'll be picked and eaten. We have cayenne pepper that we bought as a plant. And we got a little bit of a pepper there already growing. Can you see that in the video?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not sure how much bigger that will get, but that'll be a bright red, I think, when it's ripe. Right here we planted some eggplant. Everything was planted from seed except, so hopefully we'll have some sweet corn before long. Doing real well with corn. And then we planted some more corn back there. You see it's shorter. That's because that was planted later. So this is going to be an early crop of corn. And our latest crop will be in the back. And all this is on a square foot plan. Corn plants are in 1 square foot per plant. We have cucumbers growing here, also in the square foot method. You see the white pipe here. That was the cheapest thing I could find to divide up the plot in square foot pieces. And so far it's working quite well. They'll be growing as they grow. We'll have them grow on this fencing here. You can already, some of the seedlings already have their tentacles showing, and when they do, the tentacles will wrap on this wire, and it'll hold itself up, and we'll be able to grow the cucumbers vertically, and that way they won't take up so much room. Because that way we'll have more room here in these other squares for the eggplant. We've got some Roma tomatoes to plant yet, and maybe some onions.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and this here, the shallots are growing. It's a bit bigger from maybe the last time. There was a weed in there, looks like I got to dig out. They're doing quite well. The tomatoes, these are quarterhouse tomatoes. Yeah. And I don't know whether it's because this warm soil is helping out, but each day they seem to have grown like half an inch or so.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and they'll be growing up in these cages. Right now I have only got 2 of the cages up, but there'll be 4 more coming up. Unfortunately,
how about the little helpful tip with the aluminum around?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, get a shot of that. Yeah, you can have a problem with cutworms. here and many, many other places. And they're just a little worm that comes out at night, and they're like a little pair of scissors that come around, and it's the craziest thing. They come around and they just snip things down. And they can take out a couple of plants in an evening. And the way you prevent them from doing that is you put a little collar of aluminum foil around each plant, and the worms will not cross that aluminum. So that's a protection.
Excellent. Thank you for that tip.
Okay. And then, these are cantaloupes.
Wonderful.
You plant these about half as dense as you do the cucumbers. So there's 1 per square foot for the cantaloupes. There are 2 on the cucumbers. And these also will climb up this metal fencing and give us a vertical crop. It'll keep the fruit off the ground, so we'll have nice clean fruit.
Wonderful.
So we should do well with that.
It's coming along just fine, John.
Yeah. Should we get the full frame?
Sure. Okay, what do we have here?
We have Roma tomatoes here, and this glass goes on at night, covers them up, keeps them a little bit warm. The leaf curl we think is caused by the cold, damp nights we've been having. The rest of the country is right now experiencing a heat wave, and here in California it's been below normal. So the Roma tomatoes do not like cold; they like warm. And these have come back a little bit. These were all completely curled up just a couple days ago. Since we put them in the cold frame, the leaves are more like they're supposed to be. So I think this has been a good thing. And also, when we want to start more seedlings, this will be a nice warm place, because we have out here we have something called June gloom, which means cold, damp June mornings until the sun comes out, and there's a lot of plants will do better if you have a warmer box like this to grow them in.
Great. Wonderful.
Okay, right here we have our seedlings. These are eggplants. We already put 3 of them in the ground. We're going to put the rest of them in probably in a week or 2. These are our other seedlings for the porterhouse tomatoes. They don't seem to mind the cold so much. They're looking nice and healthy, just staying out here in the open. We have red onions seedlings coming up here. Everything was started from seed. These are leeks, these 2 containers. They are, I took it maybe too long. I put them in vermiculite, started them as seeds, and they probably stayed in the vermiculite too long. That's probably why they're still so small. They might would be almost as big had I put them in the potting soil sooner than what I did. We have some bell peppers here, also started from seed. There's a tomato. I just needed a spot for another tomato, so let me turn these around. So we'll have 3 bell pepper plants.
Oh, they're looking good.
Yeah, and these are yellow onions here from seed. So those are our seedlings, and they'll be going in the garden before too long.
Excellent. All right, John.
Okay, Tony bought a couple of plants for the garden today. These won't go in a square foot garden. They'll go up against the fence because these are going to be like perennial plants. We have a blackberry here. Now the cane just is a little cane stuck in the dirt. Now that typically fruit like blackberries will root themselves doing it like that. Right now it has no leaves, and it looks a little dry, but we'll see if it roots. If it doesn't, we'll just take it back. This here is a blueberry, and this is beautiful. It's got lots of leaves, and I think they got a little weed growing in there, but that's okay. Tony was kind of thinking that his jalapeno bush, maybe I'll get a shot of that too. The peppers are smaller than what you buy in the grocery store, and I think that's probably worth talking about a little bit. When you grow vegetables commercially, you're going to pay the same amount of money for each piece of fruit picked. So you're going to make more money if the fruit's bigger, because you're going to hire someone and they're going to take, maybe in an hour they might take, I don't know, a few hundred pieces of fruit. And if they're small, they're not going to weigh as much, and your profit's going to be less. So typically commercial vegetables, fruits, are very big, especially strawberries, evidently jalapeno peppers are that way. When you grow them yourself, you typically get better fruit, better vegetables when the fruits are smaller. So Tony's jalapeno is smaller than what you buy in a grocery store. And the reason for that is that you'll get more flavor out of smaller fruit. Typically it's a different variety. It just doesn't grow as big a fruit. But that's one big difference, one reason, a good reason to grow your own as opposed to going to the store to buy it, if you can.
Perfect. Thank you for that info, John.
Sure.